Hey everybody, welcome back. Today I wanted to talk about my UI and the different things, add-ons, weak auras, and adjustments I make to my UI in order to do the most damage possible in raids, and also just provide me with the tools I need as a warrior to know when my abilities are coming off cooldown, know which trinkets I have on, all of those good things that let you just play a little bit more optimally than just using the vanilla UI. That is to quickly say, I'm not hating on anyone who plays with the vanilla UI. There are plenty of people out there who do great damage just using the regular vanilla frames, but I think for most of us out there, making a few adjustments could help us out a long way. Before we get started, everyone, if you please could like and subscribe to the channel. I really appreciate all the subscribes so far. We're almost at 1,000 subscribers, and that is so cool. So thanks everyone for showing love. Please drop a like and subscribe and a comment below. That said, let's get into the video. So first, let's talk about why you want to modify your UI. A lot of the reasons as to why you want to modify your UI is so that you can use your rotation more effectively, because you won't need to look down to your bars in order to see what the next attack you should use. Secondly, there's some quality of life adjustments that you can do fairly easily with things like weak auras, moving bars to the right places, and a few add-ons that will just allow you to do a better rotation, allow you to keep track of the different resources like rage, and just allow you to do things more effectively, do more damage, die less, be cognizant of what's going on in the raid, all of those types of things. There's two real choices you can make when it comes to picking your UI. The first is whether or not you want to use a full UI overhaul add-on like LVUI, like I use, to make changes, or if you want to add weak auras to the existing vanilla raid frames to help track your rotation more effectively. Both ways are extremely valid and highly recommended for most players. First, I'm going to talk about using LVUI because that's personally what I use and have used for a long time playing WoW. What LVUI allows you to do is go in and move almost everything about your UI. Move your chats different places, move your bars different places, all those types of things, and it has very, very customizable options for things like your raid plate, target plates, interrupt announcers, all that kind of stuff. If LVUI is really a full exhaustive overhaul, and there's a lot of different things you can do with it in order to make your UI better. So before we start talking about LVUI in depth, video will be linked below with an installation guide, because I don't want to cover how to install LVUI on this video. I'm really more talking about the advantages of using it. So I'll link a video below that'll show you how to install LVUI. Once you have LVUI up and running, what you're going to run through is an installation process. I've already done that on this character, but once you're done with that, I am going to link my profile in my channel, and essentially what you all will be able to do is come and grab all of this text here and copy and paste it, and you will have my bar set up pretty much completely with all of my settings. So once again, you'll go into LVUI, you'll go into profiles, you will click import profile, you'll paste what I link, or if you find another profile out there that you like, paste that as well, and you're going to get, essentially it's just going to go exactly to my UI. One thing you may want to go into once you do that is look at your general and adjust your UI scale. Depending on how you like your UI, you can either make it smaller or bigger depending on how big your computer screen is or what your vision is. You can make it pretty, like grandma friendly if you want, like make it really big, or you can make it very minimalistic. UI scale is probably one of the more important things. Secondly, there's things like, if you go into your data bars, if you go into things like your action bars, this is where you're going to be to enable up to 9, almost 10 bars on here, and you simply need to go click on them, enable, and then once you have them enabled, click on toggle anchors, and then you're going to see the action bars pop up, and you can drag and drop and move them. What I've really oriented my LVUI around is providing an easy to reference bars with all of my main abilities that I use in my rotation, and in places to where I don't need to look down to see when they're coming off cooldown. So if I Blood Rage right now, I can know that there's 57 seconds left on the cooldown, and I don't need to look down and see. Same with Death Wish. Let's say I pop Death Wish. Now I know that I have 3 minutes left on it. When it's up, it'll show me when it's up. There's weak auras that do this exact thing, but I find that when I am learning a character, I especially switched from Prot to Fury earlier in the expansion, I really like being able to on the fly pull abilities in and out of these bars as I learn what I want to use, what I don't want to use. This is especially true when you're playing leveling and making a new character like a druid and you have 80 abilities. As you find out which ones you use and actually want to track, you keep those as sort of where you need to look, and it works out in your favor. I think one of the fundamental things when you place weak auras and when you mess with LVUI is that you want to have your primary abilities that you need to track in order to do the optimal rotation within your field of sight that you'd be looking at in a boss fight. So if I am over, fighting with a boss, I'm looking around at my character, at the boss, making sure I'm attacking, watching the fight essentially. If you have to look down to see when like Bloodthirst is coming off cooldown, as opposed to having it right here so you don't need to look away at all, you're going to have less uptime on the boss because the boss might move away as you're looking down and you'll miss an attack. You might eat some sort of ability because you're busy looking down to see when your abilities are. The more you can keep your eyes front and center, the better, and that's a lot of what these changes and UIs let you do, is sort of keep them there. So that's LVUI. I don't want to go into all of the different settings about LVUI because there's a lot. I'll link videos that have sort of the guides into these. Just know that LVUI is the main backdrop that I'm using, and this is sort of why my UI looks like this. The second thing I really want to stress that you want to have on your UI is your rage bar. So if we want to customize the LVUI rage bar, we go into LVUI, you just hit exit LVUI, you go down to unit frames, you go into player, and you go into power, and you will see that you have all of these different options to customize what your raid bar looks like, the colors that it uses, how big it is, different, really so much customization is available. This is why I say be careful trying to do this after, at midnight or something like that, because there's just a lot going on, and if you have a great UI that you like, you can mess it up. So, also, before we go any further, when you're developing your UI and you're making your UI, when you have a UI that you like in LVUI, you want to go to profiles, go to export profile, you're choosing what you're exporting, the profile to text, paste this somewhere on your PC and save it in just a simple Word document, so that if you ever mess up your UI, or if, God forbid, have to reinstall LVUI, you can easily get back to where you were and not have to redo everything from scratch. You do not want to have to redo your LVUI from scratch. It's a pain in the ass, and it will demoralize the hell out of you, because this UI, as simple as it looks, is the culmination of just minor tweaks and stuff over hours and hours and hours of gameplay. So this is just what I've found to be optimized for me. You will develop your own, and believe me, losing it all because you didn't save something properly is horrible. Okay, so I got my friend Dalton out here. Having a rage bar, what it's going to do is it's going to allow you to easily see how much rage you're generating and immediately know, okay, Bloodthirst just came off cooldown. Now I'm switching to Berserker Stance. I have 16 rage. I know that Bloodthirst should be coming off cooldown soon. Making a bigger rage bar really allow you to have a good visual icon of your rage as you go doing stuff in raids, as you go into attacking, heroic strike, queuing, all that. And also allows you to just be able to keep an eye on how much rage you have while also being able to focus on other things, and that you don't have to really get to the close to the screen and see where your rage is at. So it's pretty helpful in that regard. So the next thing I want to show here is the swing timer. So the swing timer is going to show me a couple things. First, it's going to go, the swing timer will set itself to how fast your weapon is. So I'm using CTS right now, and it's going pretty slow. This is a weak aura, and what the swing timer allows you to do is do an ability and then just queue up a heroic strike immediately, and do things like, I have enough rage to heroic strike and whirlwind right there. I get 2 attacks out in one. I heroic strike again, and you can easily know, like, I have heroic strike queued. I unqueue it. I queue it back up. I unqueue it. I queue it back up again. I let it out with a Bloodthirst. You're doing 2 attacks. It's really, having a good swing timer allows you to do that kind of stuff more effectively. What I like to do with LVUI, and I think you should do with whatever type of UI you go with, is customize it with weak auras. So weak auras are additional things, and I'll link a video like LVUI below to get more in depth about how to set up weak auras. But weak auras are essentially things that flash, tell you when you have certain cooldowns up, all of those types of things, and allow you to play the game more effectively. So right now, if I was in the, let's say that Furin is Nefarion right now, and we're at the end of the fight, we're going hard, and I see that my Battle Shout weak aura has gone off. My Battle Shout weak aura, I'll have all the weak auras linked below that I talk about. My Battle Shout weak aura is a weak aura that tells you when Battle Shout is not applied. So I Battle Shout, now I have Battle Shout applied. When 2 minutes are up and my Battle Shout goes up, my goes down, my Battle Shout weak aura will go off again. If I click it off, it's going to go off again. So this weak aura is going to allow me to have full uptime on my Battle Shout. quick thing on how to install weak auras before I talk to them a lot. I'm going to go ahead and drop combat. What you want to do is you go into /WA after you install the add-on through the Twitch app, and you're going to have all the different weak auras here. Now, what you do, just like LVUI, when you find, don't try, if it's your first time using weak aura, don't try to make your own weak aura. Use the ones I link. Use ones you can find online by Googling, XYZ weak aura. And a lot of them from retail will also work on classic, just so you know. But you click on import, you copy and paste just like LVUI. You hit done, and it'll import the weak auras. So you don't need to do anything custom. All you have to do is copy paste, and then once you have it, you just simply click it. You can minimize it so you can see, and you can drag it around. I'm gonna leave it where mine is. So it's the same for everything, right? So all of the different weak auras that I have, I'm gonna go through now. So the first one I went over is you can have as many weak auras as you want as well. So the first weak aura I went is my battle shout macro. That just works whenever I don't have battle shout on. The next weak aura that I have is my swing timer. This is showing me what I have queued, what I just went over then. Very important weak aura. Next weak aura that I have weak auras as well that track all of my cooldowns. So if I go ahead and use Death Wish right now, the Death Wish cooldown is going to pop up here, and I know I have 30 seconds of it left, and so I can get the full uptime on it. I know, first off, I know that it popped so that I can get the full use out of it, and it's not like I thought that I popped it, so I'll know that it actually went off because my weak aura is going to pop off with my timer and it flashes. So I also have Wreck on this as well. Let's pop Wreck. Now we have Wreck and there. Let's see if I can kill Dalton because it wrecks up, but you'll see that Wreck, having both of these up, is really great because you can now know that Wreck's up. Okay, I can do a little bit more. I can queue more heroic strikes. I can I'll have more rage to play around with, and you'll see how my battle shout macro went off there too. So now you've seen that really helps you track Wreck. That helps you track just making sure, ideally in a boss fight, you're going to want to have Diamond Flash, Death Wish, and Wreck up, and they're all running up to 0 at the exact same time. So another weak aura that I have is my Crusader tracker. Whenever I get a Crusader proc, it's going to let me know. All right, so now it's going to let me know that I have 1 proc of Crusader up and how much time I have left on that proc. You can use that, so if you wanted to do more burst damage in a certain area, you could go ahead and use more abilities right now, like maybe try and push out more heroic strikes or push out more overpowers while you have 2 stacks of Crusader. And even when you have 2 stacks, it's going to show a 2 and start glowing. So it's just a fun thing so that you can help track your Crusaders more effectively. Other weak auras I have are my time to die add-on. That is what I've talked about in my how to time your cooldowns video, and essentially what that does is just essentially tells you how much time there is to die. It's a PvP target, so it's not going to work on Furin, but at boss fights, I guess it will. So right now it's telling me that Furin will die in 40 seconds at this current rate, 28 seconds. It's a good way to use as sort of a scuffed boss time kill timer if you can't go in and actually find your kill times. Another thing weak aura I have here is a stats tracker. So what you can do with this, if you want to start using Bloodthirst over Execute during Execute phase, this will track your AP. So when you're over 2k, you'll know essentially when to start doing that. Another thing I have is a buff cap tracker. Basically what this does is show that how many buffs you have. When you use full consumes, full world buffs and everything, you can get very close to pushing buffs off. So those are all the weak auras. I guess the only other thing I have is a weak aura that tells you when I pop Diamond Flask, and you'll see here I popped it and now it's down there. So there's Diamond Flask, there's Death Wish, and I can really do a lot of damage now. So those are all of my weak auras. A couple add-ons that I have that are pretty important to just playing your class more effectively. The first is the player health percentage add-on. I'll link all the add-ons below as well. This I put in the middle, and I messed my player target bar up trying to make this video, so I'll fix this later. My target bar is usually bigger than this, but this tells you what percent the enemy's at, and this is critical for if you do research ahead of the fight and you know that you need to Death Wish at 50%. This shows you exactly when 50% is, so you can pop it then. And this is one of the most important add-ons, and it's super, super simple. You literally drag it wherever you want. So if you think it's better to be right here so you don't even have to look, then put it right there. I find that it's really natural to have it right there. Other add-ons that I have are my Trinket Switcher. So you'll see here that I have Diamond Flask on cooldown. Let's say that I go back into combat, but I want to switch to Hodge immediately after combat's out. So you go back, let's say the boss fight ends, you're in a speed running guild, you're moving to trash immediately, you don't have time. this add-on will automatically switch your trinkets so that you can just have them queued between fights, between everything. It's useful on Neff when you're in the middle of the fight using Hodge. Then you want to switch to Diamond Flask at the end. This add-on's really great at that. The next most important add-on is my threat tracker, which I have right here. This threat tracker is so important because you need watching your threat, especially as a world buff Fury Warrior, is so important. You have to keep an eye on the threat meter or you're in for a real bad time. So now I want to show you my UI in motion in a fight. So let's go look at one of my boss fights. Just to show everything in motion right now, I want to show you just a quick Ebon Rock kill and how I'm using everything in my UI to just track everything in real time. So first off, I mean, using my buff tracker a lot in BWL, 26 out of 32. If we look at my trinket timer down here, you'll see that I have now I know that my Diamond Flask is up, and I need to switch to Diamond Flask because I knew that I was leveraging my trinket add-on. So now I'm doing the last consume check, and I'm running in. You'll see my time to die add-on over here is estimating 20 minutes, 42 minutes. That's because our DPS hasn't started. And you'll immediately see how we can sort of get started here. I know that I don't have enough DP rage yet to start Heroic Strike queuing. I'm letting the tanks build threat. And now you'll see I pop Diamond Flask. My Diamond Flask weak aura goes up. We're killing him quite quickly. You'll see that I'm queuing Heroic Strikes on almost every single attack, using Bloodthirst and Whirlwind on cooldown. And I know that they're coming off cooldown because I'm looking at my attack bars right there. You'll see I mess up. I leave Bloodthirst on cooldown for a second, but I get right back up and keep going. And we keep all of the different attacks going out. You'll see that I hit the percentage I need to Death Wish on. I Death Wish, and now we're really cooking with attacks here. We got I even knew to use Blood Rage right there because the ability is right in front of my face there. There's my Overpower macro, but we're not going to switch stances with this much rage and attacks. And right here, I lost Battle Shout. It gets put up right away because I see that it's out. We know we're very close to execute phase because we see our damage percentage right there, and we immediately are able to get our executes out, get everything that we need to, and we have almost perfect cooldown usage because of our ability to know we have the cooldowns popped and pop them at the right percentage. What I want to show you right now is I want to show you guys a couple different weak auras from around the web and just what other warriors out there are using to do great damage. So this is Ahlaundoh. I don't know how to pronounce the name, but this is one of the best warriors in the world, and you'll see he just absolutely cranks damage, and he uses a combination of a couple different UIs that really allow him to be very minimalistic. And you'll see that he has a full weak aura setup up here that is showing him his cooldowns and his rage bar, which is, he uses his rage bar right there. So he's essentially doing the same thing I'm doing, but what's going to be the advantage with something like this is that weak auras help keep it nice and clean, helps it keep right in the center of the screen. It's really easy to customize everything. And you'll see that he also is tracking pretty much all of the same things I'm tracking, but with his setup, things are kind of popping in and out of focus more clearly and a little bit faster. So this is like a good weak aura setup. Really, these things pop up when you're in combat, and his is showing him not only his abilities, but also different pieces of gear that he has equipped. There's a lot of different UIs and weak aura UIs, warrior sets you can use. I'll link some cool ones. But what's great about weak auras is that you can really do a lot of different things, and there's a lot of people who have come up with some real creative options for them. So you can look at a ton of different things, and you can experiment. There are a ton of different weak aura options out there, and they are super easy to just go into weak aura, copy and paste, delete the ones you don't like, mix and match, try them out. All you have to do is go Google Fury Classic Weak Aura and start looking around and figuring out what works best for you. I'll link a couple cool ones, but there are going to be ones that people like and people don't like, but that's all good because ultimately what you're trying to do is assemble a UI that makes you happy, that lets you do everything that you need to do, and just be the best warrior possible. So everyone, thanks for watching. This has been my video on setting up your weak auras and UI to be a great Fury warrior. I want to thank everyone for watching and subscribing to the channel so far. If you haven't already and you enjoy my content, please drop a like and subscribe. It's very much appreciated. Guys, AQ in a couple weeks. Going to be about 3 weeks on my server maybe. We'll see, hopefully faster, but definitely some exciting things happening in Classic and beyond, and I just want to thank everyone for watching, and I'll be back soon with some more WoW Classic content. Peace.